Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar for Adobe Premiere and SNS EVO, the perfect pair for creative collaboration. My name is James. I'm from Studio Network Solutions, and I take care of sales and marketing activities for SNS in the Asia Pacific region. I'm joined by my colleague, Mr. Rohan Chahande from RSG Solutions, who is our distributor partner in India and Bangladesh. And we have a very special guest for you today. Mr. Chetan Shah from Adobe is here. With more than 25 years of extensive experience working with video and broadcast technology companies like Tektronix, the Grass Valley Group, Discrete Logic, and Autodesk, Chetan is currently spearheading and fostering strategic business relationships in key markets at Adobe. His apt business acumen and insight in product trends has helped many broadcasters and post-production companies transform their workflows, giving them a leading edge over their competitors. As part of strategic development team, he is working closely with leading agencies to explore new workflows, product use cases, introducing them to pioneering product and best practices. Here's a quick look at what we will be touching on today. We shall start with a few words from Chetan, talking about market trends and how Adobe is rising to the challenge in this current climate. Then we'll jump into details about how EVO enhances your Adobe Premiere and Creative Cloud workflow. And then we'll take a few minutes before Q&A to look at the best EVO for your needs. And now I shall pass the mic to Chetan from Adobe. Chetan, please take it away.
Thank you, James. Thank you very much for inviting me on this webinar. And good afternoon, everyone. As James said, I'm Chetan Shah, part of Adobe's Creative Cloud for Enterprise Business Unit. So let me give some background on how we are doing and where we stand as on today. Adobe introduced Creative Cloud Solutions subscription model around 8 years back, which gave us a great platform to bring the new products, services, and workflow to our customers more frequently and regularly than our previous models. While we started building products to meet our meet more and more challenging tasks you guys are having, we also started working on integration of all our Adobe Creative Cloud applications with third-party solutions to offer end-to-end solutions to our customers. This was very much required, especially with the broadcasters and the post-production companies, where you needed end-to-end solutions right from capture to delivery of your projects. In last few years, we have added hundreds of new features requested by many editors and workflow consultants throughout the year to make sure that they can switch to Premiere Pro very easily and integrate the same in their workflow to bring in efficiency and speed to finish the projects. The market trends around mobility and social media in combination of creativity, increasing new app usage on tablets and smartphone, having creative teams being more agile, mobile using a powered laptop, in parallel to explosion of social media giving limitless touch points for content providers, creating important production challenges. With all these industry changes, Adobe had to rethink the creative process by extending our product offering from desktop apps to mobile with collaboration services, AI/ML services, and more in order to provide ongoing innovation, helping creative people and team to work at any point, any device, anywhere. And with current COVID situations, we are seeing even this more accelerating. As we move towards more and more towards integrated workflow, we also started leveraging Adobe Sensei AI ML platform to assist editors to automate certain repetitive process. These features have tremendously increased the work efficiency and reduced the time to finish the project. Some of these features are color match, auto tucking, morph cut, auto reframe, the new features also coming up like scene detect and many more. In case if you have not used that, please go through the features and tutorials available at adobe.com and start using that. I'm sure you will find it a lot more time saving and finish the project faster. For last couple of years, we have been working on our cloud strategy. The current situation have boosted our efforts to offer the cloud-based solutions, including virtualization and remote collaboration with our partners. Many partners, including SNS, are offering remote sharing and collaboration workflow for short form and long form editorials. Team projects and productions are new ways to collaborate and work remotely when editors are at different locations. Adobe and SNS have been partner for more than 8 years or 10 years, a decade. We have been working together since the inception of their EVO server solution, so that Adobe users around the world could have the best video and audio workflow possible. Here are a few highlights of our partnership. The SNS EVO started project logging in Adobe Creative Suite back in 2013. Creative teams can log their Premiere Pro, After Effects, Photoshop, and other Adobe file types with EVO Server so that the other team members don't accidentally overwrite their work. SNS did this before the project locking feature was brought into Premiere productions earlier this year in Premiere Pro. They have been always innovative like that. Speaking of productions, SNS had the largest testing environment for productions in Premiere Pro to date. If you are working on a long term or episodic content creation, the EVO works great with your production workflows. And on the media asset management side, ShareBrowser is a fantastic tool that integrates with Adobe Premiere Pro and After Effects through an integrated panel extension, which is available for free on Adobe Exchange. So I will be around to answer your questions at the end of the presentation. For now, I'm going to hand things back over to James to walk you through all the EVO tools that can make it such a great tool to use with your Adobe Premiere Pro workflow. Over to you, James.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Chetan. It has been a long and wonderful partnership between Adobe and SNS, and we're continuing to grow together each year. Now that we've told you about our partnership, let's talk workflow. Let's begin by defining what is EVO. EVO is workflow. And what do we mean by that? EVO is media asset management, helping you locate content and work faster. EVO is backup and replication to ensure your hard work is kept safe. EVO is cloud and AI, letting you keep pace with new technologies. EVO is Nomad, allowing you to create from home or wherever you are. EVO is also future-proof by supporting 8K and 32K content right now. Most importantly, EVO works for you by providing all these features at no extra cost. They just happen to have a nice, big, fast storage attached together. Here's a small sample of our customers. EVOs are deployed in over 70 countries and many different industries, like film, video, VFX, audio and music production, sports, education, worship, houses of worship, news, gaming, esports, corporate, government, and many more. The common thread among them is the need to create very high quality content in the fastest time possible. And of course, to save some money along the way. A good workflow is defined by the flexibility of the available toolset. Every EVO includes a full suite of advanced software at no extra cost. Here's a highlight of what is included. ShareBrowser is a very easy to use MEM software. MEM stands for Media Asset Management. It is designed to help you work, not add layers of complexity. Slingshot allows you to set up manual and scheduled automation tasks, so repetitive file moving can be taken care of by EVO. You keep creating, not copying files. Nomad is a desktop tool that helps you copy your proxies or high-res files to your desktop at home, so you can continue working even in these difficult times. But that's not all. When we are all back to more normal times, think about the possibility to extend your creative capability by taking artists from all over the world and allowing them to contribute to your projects without the need to relocate them or expand your office. Let's go into a little bit more details. ShareBrowser is designed so it can key in metadata quickly. We call this freeform metadata. Just type in simple keywords into the tag field and some description into the comments field, and that's it. We can also set up custom metadata fields if your workflow requires them. All the metadata are searchable, including harvested technical metadata. ShareBrowser can also be accessed using just a web browser where you can preview video proxies. And if you have WAV or AIFF audio files, you can actually see the waveforms for those files as well. ShareBrowser allows you to manage all your files and network storage, not just the EVO, from one single application. For those of you with a large backlog of video content, ShareBrowser works with Amazon Recognition AI to quickly generate metadata to make your existing video library searchable. Unlike other solutions, this is a pay-as-you-use model, so it ensures that there's no upfront cost to implement. EVO's built-in project locking feature can be enabled for the entire Adobe suite of software. If you have multiple artists working on the same project, project locking helps to prevent users from overwriting the same file by accident. The ShareBrowser panel extension is available on Adobe Exchange for free. Installing the panel gives you direct access to metadata and the actual files directly from within Premiere and After Effects. There's no more switching around different windows required. We also have a video tutorial on YouTube to help you get started. As I've mentioned earlier, find us on SNS on the Tube. Slingshot is our built-in file automation tool. There's a GUI to help you build the automated workflows you require. Slingshot also allows you to build manual automation tasks. For example, once you complete your work and you need to send a file to another colleague or storage destination, Slingshot lets you build a right-click contextual menu to do that automatically. So instead of needing to mount a share and manually copying it, even though it doesn't sound like much work, right? But think of how easy it is to just right-click and send the file off and continue editing. Slingshot supports practically all different types of third-party storage blocks available on the market. There's no additional cost or capacity limit in managing those third-party storage. So all your current investment are well protected. Of course, we hope that once you go EVO, you won't go back. And for those of you who are technically adventurous, Slingshot includes a RESTful API that you can use, again, at no extra cost, to script your own custom workflow with your existing toolset. The sky really is the limit here. Now, Nomad was released in March 2020, just before the travel ban and stay-at-home orders were put into effect. How Nomad works is it analyzes your Premiere Pro project file and lets you download the proxy or the source file you need to work from home or anywhere. It works on both Mac and Windows and supports all creative applications. Since March, Nomad have been helping customers like Google, Oregon State University, Sprint, Australia Dental Association, and many, many more to work remotely from home. Whether you're in a studio, at an office, or at home, EVO has the tools to help you get back to work. Now, some of us here may be old enough to remember proxy or offline editing. Proxy or offline were interchangeable terms back in the good old days. For all of us who are still young and bright-eyed, what is offline editing? Well, this technique is really handy anytime your video files are just too big to carry around with you, too big to copy, maybe even too big to play on a computer if you're working with 8K video today. Offline editing is really just 3 simple steps. 1, create proxies for your original video. 2, edit those proxies. And last, relink the the original high-resolution file back when you're ready to export your final master. These proxies are important because they are smaller, more portable copies of your online files. Editing proxy simply means working with the proxy files on your timeline so you can edit within the capability of your computer environment. The trick in keeping the production quality high in the last step is relinking back the full res master and then exporting it. You get the benefit of dealing with compact offline files without giving up the quality of the online files. EVO offers many ways to take advantage of offline workflow in all popular editing software, but Adobe helps by making it easy to switch between online and offline files, like the toggle proxy function you see here in Adobe Premiere Pro. With just one click, you can link the clips on your timeline to the small lightweight proxies or back to the original full-res video files. Now that we're familiar with offline editing, let's take it a step further. Now more than ever, remote editing is high on everybody's priority list. We all need efficient ways to get the work done from home, and getting access to your media files can be quite challenging. So let's look at ways we can integrate offline editing when you are working from home. Here's how it works. When you're in the studio, your full res and proxy files lives on your EVO. When you're ready to go remote, Nomad finds all the relevant media files that you need and assembles them into a nice portable package. You simply tell Nomad what project you're working on, or you can point Nomad to your project folder that contains all your full res media. Nomad will download the proxy files, and then in the familiar offline editing workflow, you can continue working. Running Nomad while you're still at the office lets you easily copy your offline files to a portable drive, put it in your backpack, and head right home. But what if you're already at home or you can't go back to the office? You can connect to your office using a VPN. Once connected, you can just download your Nomad offline files to your computer at home or your laptop on location or anywhere in the world. After that, you can continue working without an internet connection at all. We all know how unreliable public internet connections are these days. Nomad simply helps you to quickly and easily get the files you need to edit from home. Compared to other solutions, Nomad can be deployed in days instead of weeks. Most importantly, it is included free and does not cost you a single cent more. It provides you with an integrated offline workflow with Adobe, regardless of the resolution of your source files. There are no per seat licenses. You can deploy it for 10 people, for 100 people. And did I mention it's free as well? Now, of course, it works with Mac and Windows OS. I mentioned VPN. There's some misconception about VPN, and let's get some clarity on what we meant. A VPN, or virtual private network, acts as a secure tunnel connecting your remote computer on your home Wi-Fi or any public internet to a private network. There are two different types of private network. The first type that we are familiar with is the type we use to subscribe to watch Netflix or other content from a different country. Those are personal VPN, which gives you an address for that country. So Netflix thinks, for example, your computer is in the US. In our case, for SNS, the purpose of the VPN is to give your team a secure access to your in-studio private network. This gives your computer at home the IP address of your studio's network IP addresses. Your workstation and EVO are now on the same network even when you're at home. But not all VPN are created equal. We have built SNS VPN with specific features to enhance the remote editing and creative process, making it super easy to use, whether you have a dedicated IT department or zero technical and IT background whatsoever. How do we do it? SNS built our VPN server to run in the cloud. Every customer gets their own unique instance of the SNS VPN cloud service. And because the service is hosted in the cloud, there's no need to buy and set up a dedicated server or program new firewall rules. It is really very easy to use. Once your EVO joins the SNS VPN cloud service, it is then available to any of your remote team members who can also join the VPN. So whether the team is in the office, at home, or out in the field, everyone has secure access to the same workflow. And because there are no per seat user fee, you can add a freelancer for a week without incurring additional fees. You can also add and revoke privileges and monitor the usage very easily from the web portal. The unique thing here is your EVO joins the SNS VPN as a client, the same way your remote user join the VPN. That simplifies things and avoid many of the problems of a traditional in-network hardware VPN. For example, a traditional VPN can expose all your devices on your office network to those remote users. But the SNS VPN only connects to your EVO with your remote production team, leaving the rest of your office network isolated and secure. We have had customers who tell us that their company already has a VPN, but the IT doesn't want to include their media server. So it doesn't really address their current remote editing requirement as well. One of the best things about SNS VPN is that it can live separately from the rest of your IT infrastructure. It does not conflict with any other VPN that might be running in your facility. The cloud-hosted VPN can be up and running in a matter of hours, and with the help of our remote commissioning service, you can easily manage unlimited clients through the user-friendly web console. So all that means is the Adobe and SNS ecosystem gives you the best and most integrated workflow for your creative team in and out of the studio. EVO is fully integrated into the Creative Cloud ecosystem. We provide the complete workflow solution by including our entire software suite for unlimited users for free without licensing charges. We do not believe in constantly charging our customer for additional features. Once you buy an EVO, you should be able to do whatever you want with it. EVO adapts as your business changes, like what is happening today. And you should not be penalized by paying for features you did not think you need in the past. Our hardware and software suites are optimized for creative applications. So no matter what your environment is, we have the right solution for you. It is a practical and low cost and ready to go solution. EVO has been adopted by many customers who looked at it not just as a temporary stopgap solution, but as a long-term enhancement to the future of their workflow. 3 to 6 months from now, your team may or may not be working from the office. But whether you're in the office, you're in remote, or some combination of the two, SNS remote editing workflow is available and ready to handle it. Let's see what some of our customers have to say. Kelly from Stream Companies really loved the idea that through Nomad, her team can collaborate from anywhere, even after COVID subsides. And Robert from MediaSource is restructuring his post-production workflow to take full advantage of Nomad. These user stories, check out our user stories with MediaSource on our blog post, and with Stream Companies, A Tale of 4 Nomads. All these can be found at snevo.com. Let's take a look at our family photos. As you can see, EVO comes in a full range of sizes and capacity to suit your operational needs. Let's go into some details. Let's start with the baby of the family. Our EVO Prodigy series comes in a 1U rack mount and a desktop version. Both comes with 4 drive bays for 2.5-inch and 3.5-inch hard drives or SSDs. The Prodigy is most commonly used as a MEMP appliance, so customer can manage content on their existing storage. The Prodigy desktop is also suitable for small work groups and startup with 2 to 4 people. Next, our EVO 8-bay series. Our standard 8-bay is designed for small to medium-sized creative teams. These are options to expand capacity, bandwidth, and the number of users who connect directly. The EVO DPX is a beast inside, even though it looks just like a standard 8-bay. It contains 8 high-performance enterprise-grade SSD for real-time, uncompressed, frame-based work. Editing and color grading in 4K 16-bit uncompressed DPX is going to be as buttery as ghee. All the hardware specs and software I/O settings are optimized to ensure there are no bottlenecks within the entire system. Lastly, the EVO 8-bay short depth. It is named short depth because you might have guessed it, the depth of the chassis is shorter than other servers. It needs to be short so it can be mounted inside a production truck or a flight case. And because of its form factor, the unit is also especially quiet. So you can place it in the same room as your editing stations without affecting the editors. At the same time, if there's a need for you to require a large capacity storage on set, it works great as well. Next up, the EVO 16-bay is our flagship model. It also happens to be our most popular and expandable solution. Designed for medium to large scale customers, it has all the performance and scalability you will need. The EVO is right at home, from the largest post-production studio to the largest VFX houses to TV stations. Each 16-bay head unit can be expanded to 960 terabyte with multiple expansion chassis. It also supports multiple 1 gig, 10 gig, 25 gig, 40 gig, 50 gig, up to 100 gig network ports. The EVO 16-bay gives you the best value versus performance versus capacity. Lastly, our EVO Nearline series consists of the EVO Nearline node and our EVO cluster. As the name suggests, they're designed to tear off data that are not in daily use. The EVO Nearline node is designed for small to mid-scale customer who knows the amount of data they need to work with. The EVO Nearline node can scale out to 960 terabyte per stack. And of course, you can add multiple stacks as you grow. Our EVO cluster is built using multiple nearline nodes. Designed for large-scale customers, TV broadcasters, and customers who need to constantly scale up capacity in a single namespace, the EVO cluster currently supports capacity of up to 8 petabyte and will reach 25 petabyte in the near future. You can also choose between 4 different cluster protection modes to balance between data security and storage capacity. The one thing we are very proud of is the way we measure performance. Rather than giving you an overly optimistic megabyte per second number, we actually put together an editing lab. Tests you see here were conducted using our flagship 16-bay model with Mac and Windows workstations. They are connected over 1 gig and 10 gig Ethernet using AFP and SMB sharing protocols. Tests are done using many simultaneous unique clips of different sizes and duration, and using industry standard software like Adobe Premiere Pro, Final Cut, and all the other software that you're familiar with. We run multiple layers of picture-in-picture on multiple workstations at the same time. We put that together and we hit play and we keep stacking them until we start to see drop frames. Then we back off the number of streams, the number of layers that we use, and we let the test rig run continuously for 48 hours. And we repeat the test for each codec you see here. So you can imagine the amount of work, the days and the weeks it takes to test the system. On top of that, we don't cheat. We run the test when the storage capacity is half full, not when it's empty. So it's going to be closer to your production environment. To bring everything back together, we just want to remind everybody, EVO is much more than shared storage. EVO is the ultimate workflow solution for post-production, broadcast, VFX teams. In fact, anybody who needs to create content. You get high-performance shared storage, plus a powerful and easy-to-use media asset management system with ShareBrowser. You get robust file automation to help you work better, and API integration as well. With Slingshot, and of course with our remote editing utility, Nomad. All of these software tools are included for free with unlimited license for all new EVOs. Our products are scalable to accommodate your storage and workflow needs, from the very smallest EVO Prodigy desktop shown here to multiple 16-bay EVOs and EVO Nearline with petabyte expandability. I just want to share with everybody, we have updated our Adobe configuration guide in April to include production. This guide is our SNS configuration guide to help users like yourself understand what it means to work with a shared storage like the EVO. You can go to snesevo.com and search for Adobe configuration guide and follow the links to download a copy. To arrange for a demo and discussion about your workflow and environment, please feel free to contact Rohan or myself. And I need to thank Chetan again from Adobe for joining us today. And thank you everybody for tuning in for this presentation.